Anyway, Travis Bizzle says something I guess I did real over well enough in my nutrition book is inflammation. I think you meant something I did not read over well enough in my nutrition book is inflammation. When people are talking about inflammation in the body, what exactly are they referring to? It depends, but usually inflammation is kind of a catch-all term for things that are causing problems in the body. To be specific, it could be an allergy. It could be just other general inflammatory markers. It could be a body's the immune system response. It typically is some sort of immune system response that's causing the inflammation. But a couple things that matter is not all inflammation is bad. And what we're really concerned about is a chronic inflammation that's causing an actual problem. So if you guys don't know this, all kinds of foods and diseases cause inflammation on a daily basis, but it's not enough to actually cause a problem. Some inflammation is good. I'll touch on this really quick. So take, for example, exercise. What does exercise plus vegetables plus obesity plus smoking, all four of those, what do they have in common? And the answer is they all cause inflammation. It's just the type of inflammation caused and how we respond to it is different. Vegetables have toxins. Guys, if you didn't know this, vegetables have toxins. One weird thing about vegetables, they're toxic. They literally have toxins in them. But one of the benefits of vegetables, and same with exercise, is it causes inflammation, which causes then a response where we respond to it in a way we come back stronger. So a lot of the health benefits from veggies can come from the fact that it's slightly toxic. It's called a hormetic effect, or hormesis, where a little bit of a bad thing is actually good for us and it produces a good response, which is like, for example, exercise. We're breaking down our body in the act of exercising, but during that act, it's going to make us stronger because our body will respond to it and make us stronger in a lot of different ways. So all that being said, Travis Bizzle, I just want to kind of set the stage that it's not... talking about inflammatory foods is not complete BS. There's some truth to it. But at the same time, on the opposite end of so there's like always like two extremes going on. The evidence-based crowd, they'll say stuff like he's talking about inflammation. What pathway? What study? Name it. What are you talking about? How dare you talk about inflammation? Talk about inflammation. Now, inflammation is a real thing. It happens. We know it's a real thing. It's just under what context are we talking about? And on the other extreme, there's a lot of shysters just selling anti-inflammatory everything. So the real truth, I think, lies in paying attention to functional medicine doctors and paying attention to symptoms. So my favorite resources for this are, if you want to look up more about this stuff, look up some podcasts and YouTube videos. Mark Ruscio, Ruscio. He's one of my favorites. He's a doctor who focuses on inflammation and he explains legitimate pathways and how this stuff works. He's very practical with his advice and he doesn't go overboard on like labeling everything as bad. Also a fan of FX Medicine. That's another podcast. And also pretty good, Phoenix Helix and Power Health Talk. I think those are also other good resources to kind of like break down different types of inflammation. All that being said, for what's the practical takeaway for someone concerned about inflammation? The practical takeaway is, do you have any kind of symptoms or problems that are chronic inflammation, autoimmune disease, stuff like this? If the answer is yes, then I would start analyzing things in your life and start considering elimination diets or changing up lifestyle habits. That kind of stuff can be life-changing for a very low risk. So the example I usually go back to is gluten. Gluten is not just for celiacs. It's not just a concern for celiacs. Non-celiac gluten sensitivity is in fact a real thing. There's been really good studies on that, and one done by a hospital in Italy. They looked at thousands of patients and really good statistical power, because it was just, I think it was around 20,000 patients. And they showed that, yes, indeed, there was a correlation with non-celiac gluten sensitivity. It's a real thing. There is also really good pathways that are confirmed through gluten, the protein upregulating zonulin inside of the intestines, which can lead to increased intestinal permeability, which then could lead to a hypothesized issue with leaky gut, or a hypothesized pathway in which pathogens or undigested food can slip in and cause issues, right? That's the hypothesis part, that maybe this is causing that's the source of chronic inflammation, maybe, right? It's a hypothesis. And so in my case, though, personally, that was enough information for me to experiment with it, and I eliminated gluten from my diet, and it pretty much took out my ankylosing spondylitis. My AS pretty much resolved through that, and also de-stressing. I mean, that was an important part too. But I think the gluten stuff, I made a very concerted effort to check my body's response through my pain from ankylosing spondylitis with the gluten I was consuming. If you want to read more about that, !leaky gut, or to go to tomnationtime.com/leaky gut and go check it out there. So, anyway, so Travi Bizzle, if you want specific pathways regarding inflammation and which pathways they're talking about, I would go check out Mark Ruscio. I think he does a good job sensibly explaining how this inflammation works in the body in different ways. The short answer is, if you're suffering from some sort of chronic inflammation, autoimmune disease, and the doctors can't figure it out, it's nothing obvious, then this is where troubleshooting through elimination is a very simple and really low risk way of just seeing if your life improves from it. If you like the content, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Also, follow us on Twitch and leave the notifications on. Feed your brain, feed your body, and see you next time.